Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss most important topic which is AEM Sling Servlet. Okay. So before understanding the theoretical part, first we need to understand a couple of things and after that we'll jump to the uh, what is Sling Servlet and all. Okay. So first we need to understand everyone what is a client server architecture generally we are following everywhere. Okay. And after that the Sling Servlet end-to-end architecture is first we need to understand and after that we'll jump to the definition part. Okay. So everyone we know generally everywhere we have a client server architecture. Okay, whether you are using AEM or Java based application or any kind of application generally we are creating. So we are following this kind of structure or this kind of architecture everywhere. Okay, so first everywhere we have client and everywhere we have server. Okay, so client means suppose that from where we are making any HTTP request. It can be browser, it can be apps or anything. Okay, so generally from here we are sending the request from the client end and we are receiving the request as a server end. Okay. So within the server we have all the business logic I can say, all the Java classes present in the server end. Okay, all the backend classes I can say. And after that, within the server, we are writing the business logic and we are sending the response to the client. Okay. So this kind of architecture we are working, we are basically defining everywhere, whether it is any kind of application we have here. Okay. So in the in the next slide, we have a generalized architecture related to it. This is not AEM specific. This is general client server architecture. Generally, we are following. Okay. So here, as I mentioned, client can be any single page application, browser, or any other things. Okay. So generally from here, we are hitting the URL and we are making HTTP request call. Okay. So these request information we are getting through the server. Okay. So within the server, as I mentioned, we are writing all the business logic here. Okay. Business logic, this logic can be any language. It doesn't mean that it is Java or .NET or anywhere. Okay. So it can be any language. Only we are writing the business logic and the web and the server can be basically based on the business logic or based on the whatever application we are using. Based on that we are using the app server. Suppose that if we are using Java based applications, generally we are writing there we are using Spring server, Spring Boot server kind of thing, right? Or Tomcat server we are using. Okay. And suppose that if we have any external dependency, whether we are using database or any kind of REST API call we are making, so generally we'll get those fetch part, or if you wanted to basically insert any data, those logic also we can write. Okay. And after writing all this thing within the server, we are sending the response in certain ways. Okay. Suppose that we can send the response in HTML, XML, or JSON, or plain text as well. Okay. So these responses we are generally sending to the client and we are displaying these responses. Okay. So whatever response based on this, we'll send the response from the server and we'll receive in the client side and we'll display there. Okay. This is the general architecture we are using, and this particular part will change everywhere. Okay. So if you are using Java based application, this particular part will change. If you are using any other basically application, so this particular part might be changed, like the and app server might be changed. Okay. So but this, if you talked about any generalized way, this is the general architecture we are following everywhere. So if we are coming to AEM architecture, generally these are the very simple architecture I'm using, and next slide we in detail we have there. Okay. So we'll discuss after this. So as I mentioned, here also we have the client here. So client basically web browser, as I mentioned. So from the browser generally we are hitting this basically URL, which is maybe home.html. Okay. And this will behave as a request. Okay. And this request generally we'll able to get as in server. Okay. So within AEM, basically, if I talked about in servlet point of view, so we do have within the server, we do have basically servlet container, and within the servlet container, we do have a individual servlet here present. Okay. Here. Okay. So, so many servlet we have present or any kind of Java classes we can. So right now we are talking about in terms of servlet. So we do generally within the server, we do have servlet container, and within servlet container, we do have all the servlet, whatever servlet we have developed it, all the servlet will be available there. So suppose that if you are making any request, how generally we'll able to identify which servlet need to be triggered based on the request, right? So suppose this is the dynamic request, okay? So maybe so many requests generally end user is create making, right? So how the servlet container, how the server will able to understand which servlet need to trigger based on the request. So here in AEM we have Sling framework, okay? So only Sling framework is responsible to identify based on the request which servlet we need to trigger. Okay, here. Okay, so how generally Sling framework is identifying the request based on the request, how it is identifying the servlet, we'll talk about in next slide. Okay, and suppose that here, as I mentioned, if we have any database dependency, any third party external dependency also we have. So generally we can use this one and fetch the response, and we can write the logic here and send the response as I mentioned, right, plain text HTML, XML, or JSON to the client side, and will display the data in client. Okay, so this is basically a normal architecture related to AEM. And in the next slide, I'm going to discuss in detail. Okay. So this is the detail architecture generally we are following in AEM. Okay, when we are making any request and how it is going to the servlet, behind the scene, how the things are working. First, we need to understand that. Okay. So here generally, as I mentioned, once again, the client basically from the browser and we are making any request. Suppose that we are hitting home.html or okay. So and within the home.html, basically maybe suppose that if you wanted to fetch a list of book information. Okay. So from the client side, we can fetch a get book kind of or book kind of endpoint. Okay. Similar like this kind of thing. Like within the HTTP, we can send here books list of books maybe if I wanted to fetch here. Okay, so this is the one endpoint for us, or this is the one request for us, HTTP request for us. Okay, so first it will go to Apache dispatcher here, everyone. So first it will use to dispatcher always when we are making any request. And first we need to check whatever request we are making, this request information is already available in dispatcher or not. Okay, so if it is available without going to the further steps, it will return the cached response. Okay, whatever information we have, it will directly return to the client and will able to display in the client. Okay, suppose that if we are not able to find the requested content in the dispatcher, so first what it will do, dispatcher redirect forward this request to AEM instance. Okay, if it is not able to find in dispatcher, and after that, what it will do, like after it will forward to AEM instance. Within AEM instance, generally we are using Sling framework, right? So the request will reach to Sling engine or Sling framework, I can say. And here, generally, as I mentioned, which is Sling framework is only responsible to identify the servlet which needs to be triggered. Okay, because within backend we do have lot of servlet, right? Based on the functionality wise, we are writing couple of servlet, right? Suppose that here we have add books, get books, okay, update books, this kind of information generally we do have. Okay, this kind of functionality we have. So which kind of servlet we need to trigger? In that case, we are generally using Sling framework to identify the servlet. So how it is generally identifying? First, we need to understand that. So it is basically following couple of steps to identify the request. Okay, Sling framework basically. So first request we have URL decomposition. Okay. So basically whatever HTTP request everyone we are making, right? So it will check the path of the request. Okay. It will check the selector. It will check the extension. Okay. So based on this is the first step generally Sling framework is doing. Okay. The second one, what it will do is that it will basically based whatever resource path we are getting, right, it will match to the JCR content, those resource path. Okay, and it will fetch the resource type from there. Okay, I will go to the CRST. I will talk about this one, and I will give you one example also, so that after that you will able to understand. So the second step is that it will resource path it will identify. Okay, and after that it will go to the JCR content. It will fetch the JCR, I think Sling resource type property it will fetch. Okay, there from there. And after that, the second one, based on the resource type, okay, we are able to get the resource type. It will basically, based on the resource type, it will able to identify the servlet, because we are using two ways we are defining the servlet. One is path-based servlet, and the second one is resource type-based servlet. And in the modern ways, generally, every AEM is suggesting us to use resource type. Okay, so it will able to identify the resource type if it is matching whatever request we are creating, it will match to the particular servlet. In this way, generally, it will able to invoke the individual servlet. Okay. This kind of three steps we'll talked about with one example. Okay, if you are not understanding here, I hope you understand this one. No problem. If you are not understanding as well, we'll discuss one example and we'll talk about all these things. So these kind of when the reaching to the Sling framework, these kind of for all the requests everyone, these three steps generally it is performing. One URL decomposition. The second one is resource path mapping. The third one is that to identify the based on the resource type, it will identify the servlet. Okay, and after that the request will reach to it will identify the servlet and request will reach to the servlet. Okay, within that, if you don't have any external dependency, within this, it will send a response HTML or JSON. But if we have any external dependency, everyone, so as I mentioned, OGI services, generally we are writing all the business logic here, okay? Or any database integration we have, as I mentioned in the previous slide. So those generally, those logic we are writing in OGI services, and the particular method we are calling to the servlet, okay? And we are generating the JSON or HTML or XML response, okay? This response everyone will able to from the server will able to send to the Sling framework or Sling engine, and after that it will return the response will return to the AEM instance, and after that response will return to the dispatcher. Okay, and if you wanted to whatever response we are writing, if it is if you wanted to use further in future, if you wanted to use this particular request okay, or this particular response if you wanted to use in future as well, so what we can do, we can cast this response in the dispatcher itself. Okay, so that in future if you are making any request, it will not follow the whole process. Okay, it will go to the cache, it will check if the content request content is already available, so it will directly return from the dispatcher itself instead of going all the flow. Okay, so generally that's why we are using dispatchers to catch the whatever response we are getting. Okay, and after that what we'll do, this response basically from the dispatcher we'll able to return to the client, and we'll able to display these responses to the web browser, whether it is basically JSON or HTML or XML format. Okay, so I hope you understand this is the basic structure generally we are following. Okay, this is the whole flow. Any kind of basically uh, request we are making from the front end, so behind the scene these kind of things are working. Okay, so when you are developing something, so you need to understand as well how the things are working behind the scenes, so that whatever you are developing you will able to understand end to end everything there. Okay, so that's why I'm taking some time here, but I just wanted to explain everything so that everyone can understand this kind of functionality. Okay, so what I will do is that we'll jump to the one of the example I already created. So I will go through this one and I will talk about generally how we are creating the request, how the flow are working. We'll talk about via code as well. So let me to jump to the code and let me explain there. So everyone, let's understand the example. Okay, so I am in CRXT. Okay, so I'll go to content, then custom EM project US EN, and after that we'll jump to home page. And this is the current resource component, course title component we have, right? This is the resource related to that. Suppose that if I'm hitting this path, okay, this path I'm hitting. So first, like this is the request for us. Okay, this is the request for us. It will like this is the path for us, right? This is the HTTP request for us. Generally, I'm hitting. So what it will do is that Sling framework, as I mentioned, right, this step generally we are identifying. So first it will check the path, whatever we are making here, the path. Right now, I'm not using any basically extension or any extension or any selector we are not using here, right? So generally the path we have, if you are using that, then it will identify that as well. But right now we are using the path. The first step is that to identify this request. Okay. The second one is that after getting this request, it will check the resource related resource basically, and it will check the Sling resource super type, whatever we are using. Okay. After this, basically what it will do, this general resource we are using in servlet. Okay, and this resource will uh, always be the unique. Okay, so this request we are using it here, like this resource type we are using it here. So I created one servlet, just wanted to mention, don't need to understand anyone here. So this is the basic, very basic example. Anyway, I'm going to explain what how many types of servlet we have, what is the use case, what kind of methods we have in the servlet. So we'll explain everything there. Okay, so what it will do, this particular Sling resource type, it will map to the it will match to this particular resource type whatever we have already declared in the servlet. servlet. In this way, generally, it will able to identify which servlet need to be triggered. So these kind of three steps I was talking about in the slide, right? So this kind of steps generally will able to understand. We need to understand. That's why I have given this example. And after that, it will trigger the test servlet, and the test servlet, whatever response I have written. So I have just written here right now, very plain text I'm sending. Okay, so which is servlet trigger. So as I mentioned, response can be anything like JSON, XML, HTML, or plain text. So here I'm sending this plain text and this particular response to send to the client side. Okay, so whatever request we are making, if I hit this request, basically it will trigger whole flow, whatever flow we talked about, and after that it will return the response to the client side. So as you can see, the response whatever we are returning from the servlet, this response we are getting in the client side, right? So in this is the way generally the things are working. But anyway, we haven't touched any servlet concept here. So in next lecture, what I am going to talk about, we'll discuss all the servlet related, all the key concept we'll discuss, and we'll discuss how many types of servlet we have, and how many methods we have, and discuss, we'll write all the codes related to servlet. Okay. I hope you understand this particular end-to-end flow, how when we are making any HTTP request, how the things are working behind the scene. Okay. So if you have any doubt if you have any doubt, everyone, so please mention in the comment. I'll clarify your doubt. And thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe this video. Okay. Thank you for watching.